Let's talk some sports, baby.
Taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by Jones.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
I guess Thursday night, the NFL released their 2020 schedules. There were a few surprises as the NFL is basically going about business as usual, despite the questions surrounding the season. All international games were canceled, but besides that, it's pretty much what we were expecting. The primetime slates are good with plenty of games from the Chiefs, Ravens, and Buccaneers. So, Drake, let's start with the top matchups. What are your top 10 games you're looking forward to this season?
Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to go from 10 to 1 for this segment. Number 10, I got the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. I got both weeks, week 1 and week 15. Look, we got listen, I'm going to tell you, the Patriots have showed up in a number of games for me because I'm ready to see if this thing going to hold up. Now, we got the greatest dynasty to really put it down, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. Now they're going to split. And I want to see what the rest of the division, are they going to feast or are they going to famine? That's what I'm interested in this. So I do have that game, both of those games as my number 10. My number 9, I got the Green Bay Packers versus the 49ers in week 9. Listen, when I originally thought of this, I'm like Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's see what we're going to get out of Aaron Rodgers. Then they treated him like a third world citizen this offseason. So we still going to get some motivation out of Aaron Rodgers. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, we pretty much know for the most part what we're going to get out of the 49ers. This is an NFC rematch, NFC championship game rematch. So we always interested in seeing those rematches from high-level games. So hopefully everybody, all participants show up to this game as they need be. Number 8, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. I got both weeks, week 6 and week 17. Divisional matchups. We know the Browns, they did a lot of things to get a lot better. We want to know now, will they take that step from taking the paper bag off their head and balling it up and throwing it away, or do they just whip the paper bag out from under the seat again and put it back on? This is what we want to see out of the Cleveland Browns. The Pittsburgh Steelers, listen, we talked up the most of the last year. Big Ben wasn't there. Defense played okay. Now we're going to come back. Big Ben is going to be back. The defense should come back. We want to see what we're going to get out that AFC North division behind the Ravens. So I thought that was very interesting. Then my number 7 is the San Francisco 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, it's a measuring stick for John McCarthy as the Cowboys coach. Let's see, is he for real? Let's see, can he make some change? Or is this just a Jerry Jones special? I got me a dude that I can do whatever I want to and blame it on him when it don't goes right. That's what we want to see out of this. San Francisco, we know what they're going to bring once again. Like I said, I just like this game because I think this is a true measuring stick for the Cowboys. Now, let me be clear. I'm talking about week 15. So if they play again, I don't care about that. But I'm talking about the week 15 matchup as it's set. Now, then number 6, I got the New England Patriots versus the Los Angeles Rams. Listen, you hear those two names and you thinking, this going to be a good one. No, both of these teams going to be in the toilet. That's why I want to see it. They're both teams that played in the Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl rematch from like 2 years ago, and neither one of them going to be good this year. So that piques my interest. This is a Week 14 matchup. That piques my interest because we just seen them play in the Super Bowl two seasons ago. Now they're going to be the walking match of their division possibly. So, listen, what a difference 2 years make, right? Like, I'm just interested in seeing that. And then number 5, I got the Tennessee Titans versus the Baltimore Ravens. Rematch from the playoffs last year. We seen what the Titans did. Can the Titans do it again? I don't think so. We got Lamar Jackson. We're going to see if have Lamar Jackson better himself as a passer. That's all we need to see. If Lamar Jackson come out here and he's a passer this year, it's a wrap. We know what we're going to see in the AFC Championship game, and we'll go from there. But this is a rematch. Let's see if they can depend on Derrick Henry to, carry the water again after you to hit him with the smooth franchise tag and decide to go out here and pay Tannehill, which, let's be real here, Shannon Hill probably did more as a wide receiver than he did as a quarterback. Either way, moving on to number 4, I got the New England Patriots versus Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the reason I got this game, this is a Week 4 game. I'm looking at this game as pretty much, how can I put this? The new guy coming up saying, hey, Pops, it's time for you to give it up, old man. I'm here now. You know what? I'm here. So I'm ready for, Patrick to go ahead and go there, shake Bill Belichick's hand and say, you know it's over, right? You know you're done, right? You're done in the AFC. This is my show now. This ain't the Tom Brady show no more. This is my show. So I'm very interested to see them go ahead and put a proverbial nail in the New England Patriots coffin. And then my third one is the Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers, both weeks. Listen, for all we say about Colin Murray, the guy's entertaining. Now he got a target. They had an okay draft. Listen, this team is going to be better. How much better, we got to see. But this team is going to be better. I think this is going to be an intriguing matchup because last year they had an intriguing matchup. And the Cardinals wasn't nowhere the team that they should be this time around. So I'm very, very, I'm anxious to see, did Colin Murray take that step? Will DeAndre Hopkins be what they thought he was going to be when they decided to trade for him and sign him? The 49ers, listen, we didn't talk about their secondary. I think this is a good little, back and forth for both of these teams. And look, it's Week 1. It's a good measure stick for the 49ers. So if you come out here with some old Super Bowl hangover, hey, Colin Murray going to put it on you. And then what? You know what I mean? So my second matchup, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Saints. I think this one sells itself. I don't need to go too far into it. We got 2 guys that already got their butts in the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. They just waiting for them to sit out the game long enough so they can go ahead and present it to them. So I think this game, this is one of those, when I was talking about you got a legend and you got a run-of-the-mill position player, this is a game with 2 legends. You're going to watch this game because it's Tom Brady and Drew Brees. Let's be real here. We don't know how good the Buccaneers going to really be until we watch them play. We do got a good barometer for the Saints. We know what they're going to bring for the most part. But listen, we're watching this game because of the 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks that's going to be playing in this game, bar none. So it is what it is. You're paying for the popularity. And then my number 1 game, which I would think this is probably the number 1 game for all 3 of us, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. This got to be the most electrifying quarterback duo game in the league. Like, who's not going to watch this game? If you're a football fan and you don't watch this game, just go outside and start practicing your curling because that's what you need to be doing. You need to be out there throwing the shot put because clearly you ain't cut from the same cloth if you're a football fan and you don't watch the game. I think this will be the most viewed game this year. If it's not the most viewed game, I'll be highly surprised. But this should be the most viewed game because we got the best young talent in the NFL right now playing against each other, carry on the future. And that is my top 10 games.
I got a quick few rebuttals real quick because some of these definitely I found them rather interesting. Packers 49ers, that's kind of the rematch or rematch. They had 2 of them last year, and they were both just absolute clunkers.
Yeah, they did.
I don't expect much things to be different. Green Bay, they didn't get a whole lot better, so I get where you're coming from. It is a big time rematch because of where both teams finished last year. It just doesn't interest me all that much because I don't see things being different. Patriots Rams, I like how you spun that one. I agree with you. I don't expect a whole lot from either team. That's why I'm not particularly interested, but I get your point on that one. And then Titans Ravens, I don't have that in my top 10, but that is one of the games I wrote down when I was looking through each week. You talk about teams circling a game. Baltimore will have that game. They will have that game circled. They will remember what happened last year in the division round. I expect them to wear Tennessee out completely, and Ryan Tannehill will look more like a 29-cent quarterback rather than a $29 million quarterback. You can book that, take it to the bank. Meanwhile, to the list, the elite of the elite, Minnesota and New Orleans. You talk about rematches. This is a wild card rematch. It shocked us all with what Minnesota was able to do to New Orleans, and New Orleans gets a chance in Week 16 to rectify that. I think those 2 teams will represent their divisions as division champs. I think that'll be a good one. Number 9, Baltimore and Houston, Week 2. You talk about quarterback matchups. You got two of the young guns in the AFC, Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. Not a matchup I'm going to be willing to miss week 2 on Sunday night. Week 12 at number 8, Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Probably the last time we'll see this one, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, unless somehow we see both of them in the Super Bowl. But quarterback league, we've seen them a couple times. It's the old versus the new. One's on the come up. He's taken over. And this is Tom Brady, probably his second to last year. And that's one we're going to be looking forward to in week 12. Number 7, Houston and Kansas City. It keeps with the theme, quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes on Thursday night, on opening night, first game of the season. I don't know what we're going to get because in the playoffs last year, the Texans jumped out to a 24-0 lead. And when it was all said and done, it was about 51-31. I'm not sure what we're going to get. You never know what you're going to get with the Bill O'Brien coach team. So we'll see how that one develops. Number 6 is the Chiefs heading to New Orleans in week 15. Patrick Mahomes, I'm looking forward to see Patrick Mahomes on the road because I think at home it's almost too easy. I think Arrowhead's it's a great home field advantage. I'm more excited to see the Chiefs on the road in a hostile environment in this dome in New Orleans. Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, this has the makings of a shootout written all over it. Number 5 is the Saints heading to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Drink had both matchups in his top 10. I've got this one simply because I think the week 9 matchup will be a much better matchup because I think the week 1 we'll see some rust in Tom Brady with all the new weapons. So I think it'll be a better matchup come week 9. But it's definitely one I'm looking forward to because Drew Brees and Tom Brady, we won't see that very much longer. Number 4, week 17, is Seattle and San Francisco. This was a game that was in week 17 last year. I think when you look at week 17 matchups, the NFL, they're continuing this strategy of piling up just division matchups. You can go ahead and look at it. This is going to be the Sunday night game because they're not going to have another game to flex into it. That's just the way it's going to shake out. I expect both of these teams to be highly competitive. I think the NFC West comes down to the wire again. That's why I'm looking forward to that. You talk about games that were great last year, the 49ers and Saints. We remember how much of a barn burner that game was last year. I don't expect much to be different in regards to their matchup this year in week 10. That's my number 3 game. Number 2, Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Probably the last time we'll see this matchup. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, most talented, most accomplished, or however you want to slice it. But due to the fact that they've played in opposite conferences their whole career, we haven't seen too much of these. I don't think this is one you can afford to miss in week 6. And then me and Drink reached the same conclusion in week 1. Kansas City and Baltimore, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. This is the new quarterback matchup that is must-see TV, similar to the days of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I didn't get a full top 10 out. I'm just going to highlight a couple you guys both pulled from your list here. Chiefs-Ravens, I completely agree, guys. That's going to be the game of the year. That's the game that we should have had in the AFC Championship before the Titans ruined it for us. So I cannot wait for that matchup. Vikings-Saints week 16 really does intrigue me as well. That could really be a huge factor in determining playoff seeding, and the Vikings have been kind of a boogeyman for the Saints over the last couple of years, so we'll see if they can kind of put them away, and get over that little bit of a hump. I also highlighted Patriots-Chiefs week 4. I know, Jay, you weren't as high on it, but I really think because there's so much of a narrative, the Patriots are just going to suck and they're going to be horrible, but until we see it, So I think if week 4 they go out there and they get drug all over the field by the Chiefs and they're like 1-3 after that, it might be time to be pretty worried about them. Cowboys-Eagles week 8 on Sunday Night Football, because the Cowboys, they have huge expectations coming to the season. They had a great draft. They had a great offseason. New coach. They have the world expected of them. And I'm really interested to see if they're going to be able to live up to it. If you look at their schedule, that's the first real big test they've got against a divisional opponent. Also highlighted Titans-Ravens. Like you said, I think the Ravens are going to lay an absolute wearing them out party on them. But we'll see, because Titans, they still kind of have that kind of leg up on them. And I'll also highlight Jaguars-Dolphins only because there is no Thursday night Jags-Titans, and you will not be subjected to it this year. So that's the world was done a favor today. But let's go ahead and move over to the schedules themselves, guys. I want to go ahead real quick and get to that. So, Jay, let's take a look at the schedules as far as the easiest and hardest. Who did you have for the easiest and the hardest schedules?
And talking about easiest and hardest, I hate to go chalk on this, but I pulled up winning percentages or opponents' winning percentages for the schedules. The Patriots have the hardest schedule at about 54%. And when you actually look at what's going on here, I think those numbers bear out. They got to play the NFC and the AFC West. But both of those divisions, you got Kansas City, you got Seattle, you got San Francisco. And if you go on down the line, I don't see a team in either division that's going to be a cupcake. Like Arizona, the Chargers, the Raiders. I think they'll all be competitive. I don't see a guaranteed win anywhere. And then you combine the fact that the Patriots, you got quarterback turnover. So we don't know what to expect out of Jarrett Stidham or whoever lines up on the center. I think that's another reason they got a tough schedule. But also that division, the division they play into, I don't think it's going to be the same old story where every team just stinks and you can pencil the Patriots in for 6-0 in the division. All those teams should be improved. I expect Miami to take a big step forward this year. The Jets, they were 7-9 last year with a quarterback that had mono and still won 7 games with that. I expect them to be a little bit better. And Buffalo's just too solid. They're too solidly built. Sean McDermott, he's done a nice job as a coach. The only way they can't be good if Josh Allen just forgets how to play completely. So the Patriots they got the hardest schedule. Easiest. It's incredible with Baltimore coming off a 14-2 season that they could have the easiest schedule, but the numbers bear that out. About 44% opponents winning percentage. Their division, look, I think Pittsburgh and Cleveland could be kind of in a boom or bust situation because I got expectations for Pittsburgh. I think that defense will continue to play well. I think that could carry the day for them, but we just don't know about Big Ben. I expect him to play well, but I admit I could be in a minority on that. I think there's questions about his health. We don't know what exactly that'll look like. And then over in Cleveland, you can give me all this different stuff about all the talent they got, all this, that. No, they had the same talent last year. They got more of it this year, but hey, it's about time. Baker Mayfield, where you at? You gonna prove you worthy of the number 1 pick, or you're not going to? I don't know. So we'll see what Kevin Stefanski does. But listen, the Pittsburgh and Cleveland could be really, really good, or they could be just kind of average or not so good. And then Cincinnati, I think Cincinnati could be. I think they can't be worse than they were last year, but I don't expect a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. I really don't. I think, look, if they go from 2-14 to 4-12, round of applause for them. Great job, Zach Taylor. And then when you look at you get the NFC East and the AFC South. The NFC East was atrocious last year. It really, really was. And I think Dallas and Philly should be really good. They both should, at least. We don't know now. We don't know what we're gonna get from the Cowboys. We just don't know. But Washington and the Giants, I expect Washington to take a little step forward, but I still don't think they'll be that good. And I'm not sold on what I'm seeing with the New York Giants. And then in the AFC South, I mean, are you kidding me? Indianapolis should win this division. About 9 or 10 wins should get the job done. Tennessee's gonna take a step back. And I don't know if you've been paying attention. Bill O'Brien is actively trying to set this team back for years, whether he knows it or not. That's what's going on. We've hinted around the fact that Deshaun Watson's going to get a contract extension. I wouldn't sign it to this point because that's how bad things are down there. And then there's another team down there. They're bad though. I'm not even going to dignify with reference them. So that's why the Ravens have a pretty easy road.
Hey, that other team that you're talking about, is that the team that want to go to London?
No. But yeah, that too. But that team, I think they play down where that UFC event's going down tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
That's the biggest accomplishment of the year.
That's it. Listen, I'm gonna give a quick rundown on my hardest schedule from 10 to 1. 10, I had the Vikings. Listen, they had an outstanding draft, but as I seen they got some pitfalls. I do think they're gonna maneuver the pitfalls. this is probably most likely for all intents and purposes your NFC North champion. I think the Minnesota Vikings. I do think they beat the Packers at the end. Then number 9, I went with the Texans just because of their infrastructure. And the schedule is like, man, but the infrastructure, when you add that with the schedule, you're like, yeah, this schedule got way harder for them than it has to be. Either way, it's harder. And then 8, I go with the Cardinals. Listen, the Cardinals just playing a tough division, a tough conference. They're rebuilding. They're breaking in a lot of new stuff. I mean, wide receivers, offensive line. Colin Murray's second year. Cliff Kingsbury's second year. There's a lot of stuff going on now that they're going to have to put in a bowl, whip it up, and make a full-course meal. Number 7, I had the Atlantic Falcons. Listen, they're just going to be it's between them and the Panthers who are going to be getting kicked around the most in that division. The other 2 teams seem like they're going to, by week 3 or 4, going to have their stuff together. The Falcons got a lame duck coach. Dan Quinn is a lame duck. He's probably out of there when it's all said and done this year. And the Panthers, they're playing with house money, so it don't matter as far as Matt Rule goes. So those 2 teams will be fighting it out for the doormat of the NFC South. And then I got the Lions. Let's hear. When I say lame duck coach, let me talk about that old Matt Patricia too. Yeah, he bought as lame duck as it gets too. Nobody like him. I was watching ESPN the other day. They had an equipment manager out there washing down something, and they asked him how you feel about Matt Patricia, and he said he'll rather catch coronavirus. I don't know what that means, but that's how it was. That's outrageous. And then number 5, I got the Buffalo Bills. Tough schedule. I don't think it's necessarily tough because of the AFC East. I just think it's tough because of what, like, they got a bunch of short games, short notice games, as they call them. They're playing. And listen, I think the Bills are going to be fine. Jay made a point earlier about how New England usually pencil in wins because of their division. I think Buffalo might pencil in some wins this year. If Josh Allen does not do something to just abominate whatever game they're in, if he could just do a little something down the field to Stephon Diggs and crew, they will be fine. This division is theirs to have. You know, you got to sprinkle a little salt in there. You know what I mean? So they will be fine. I think this is the team in the AFC East that's going to pencil in some wins. I got the 49ers. Listen, like I said, the AFC West is a monster. I mean, the NFC West, I'm sorry. The NFC West is a monster. That's a murderous road, even though I'm not the biggest fans of the Rams right now. Still, if they muster up a little something on offense, they still can be a tough out from time to time. Then I'm looking at the number 3. I got the Miami Dolphins. It is what it is. Well, let me round up my top 3. 3, I got the Dolphins. 2, I got the Jets. 1, I got the Patriots. And listen, the reason I wanted to make sure I said all 3 of them together, I got the Bills at 5. Well, if I take San Francisco out at 4, my top 5 is all in the same division. It just goes to a point that Jay was making earlier. Sometimes this scheduling just comes down to what division you play in. Somebody got to play a hard schedule. No, it's impossible for all 32 teams to play an easy schedule. So you're going to have half of the league get hooked up, the other half get dumped on. Usually how this works, though, is if you was a championship team the year before, you usually have a championship schedule. If you was a bottom-of-the-road team, you have a bottom-of-the-road schedule. I say that to say this. When I roll over into the easiest, 14-2, reigning MVP, number 1 rushing attack in the NFL, you know, the Baltimore Ravens, and then they get the easiest schedule. Well, let me tell you something. Somebody crunched the numbers, and they did them all wrong, and the Ravens over there like, we love you, man. We love you. Because, listen, they got the road to success, the golden paved road to making it to the Super Bowl this year. They do got to go through the Chiefs. Don't get me wrong. Don't everybody shoot my head off. The Chiefs are still out there. But the Chiefs they're going to fight a little bit to get to where they got to go. The Ravens, it seems pretty doggone easy. Number 2, I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I got the Pittsburgh Steelers at 2, 3 the Dallas Cowboys, 4 the Cleveland Browns, 5 the Washington Redskins, 6 the Cincinnati Bengals. In my top 6, there go that whole AFC North division as far as the easiest schedule. So that was the division that got the light side of the scheduling, where you got the AFC East that got the hard side of the scheduling. So I think that's very, very something that we need to pay attention to. And then 7, I got the Giants. 8, I got the Eagles. 9, I got the Saints. And then 10, I rounded out with the Chargers with the easiest schedule. So all in all, pretty much like what Jay was saying, it just felt as if it was a coin flip. You got the division that's going to get kicked around this year, or you got the division that's going to get a bunch of cupcakes and moon pies. So that's what it is to me, and that's my hardest and easiest.
Yeah, just for the easiest, I agreed 100%. Baltimore, just their schedule looks so good. A couple things that stand out in it. They only have one set of back-to-back road games, and that's out of their bye week. Their 2 hardest games, they figure to be Dallas and Kansas City, and one of those teams we're not even sure if they're going to be good. And both of them are at home. You have you have at least 7 days rest, and one of those is a Monday night game. And then best part, you end the game on a 3-game streak of the Jaguars, Giants, and Bengals. I mean, so if you need any kind of like extra gas for the playoffs, well, there you go. So Indianapolis is also kind of a runner-up. They've got a pretty good run of it. 7 of their first 8 are extremely winnable. So I think the Colts have a good start. They'll have an easy start for Phillip Rivers to get kind of integrated. And for the hardest schedule, I'd say the Jets got it pretty rough. Like you said, that whole AFC East just kind of got, they kind of got shafted a little bit. Jets have 2 of their first 3 on the road, with their home game in the middle being the 49ers. You get 2 road trips to Los Angeles, a late bye week on week 11, and you close the last 3 of the last 4 on the road at the Seahawks, Rams, and Patriots. So definitely they kind of got messed up the most. But overall, I think the Ravens for the easiest and the Jets for the hardest.